As the NFL wildcard round comes to a close, the majority of the divisional round is already set, but whoever wins this game, they await the Patriots. Hi, everybody. We got a lot to talk about today, but I don't know about this soundtrack with the extra beat to it. Okay, that gets you ready for Monday Night Football here, and Monday Night Football with a little playoff twist. Marcus Spears, Peter Schrager, Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, Dan Orlovsky.
It's so cold. We are about to roll.
Oh.
About to go down on NFL Live.
Okay.
We just arrived.
Let's.
People outside giving all of us high fives. Turn up on that line.
And we
turn up on that line. Turn up.
By the way, you also hired the win. And let me just say,
You make me so happy.
Marcus had no idea that music was coming, so that was just completely a freestyle right off the
Boogie,
cuff.
that's what we call catching the beat.
I caught it too. I caught maybe a slightly different beat than you did, and that's what makes this voice so amazing, okay?
I feel like there's wind catching my spine right now.
I know. It's a little chilly. It's football weather.
Welcome,
Let's get
y'all.
you caught up on how we got to this point where, as I told you, the divisional round is mostly set. We're going to talk a lot about this game, though. The Eagles taking on the 49ers in one that everybody anticipated, of course, for many reasons. 6 minutes into the second quarter, Purdy throwing it short. George Kittle for the 6-yard gain, but that was unfortunate. He leaves the game with an Achilles injury. We'll talk more about that. 2 minutes left in the second quarter. Eagles lead 13-10. Hurts drops back, throws it deep to A.J. Brown, but he drops it.
One of the things that came out of this game was no one made a play down the field when they had opportunities for Philadelphia.
Eagles lead at the half, 13-10. Start of the fourth quarter, 49ers down 16-10, and Purdy handing it off to Moore, who tosses it back to Juwan Jennings, who throws downfield to an open Christian McCaffrey. What a play.
You cannot make a better play call in the moment. Great play, design. Jennings with an unbelievable throw, and the catch by McCaffrey is special.
12 minutes to go in the game. Purdy trying to make something happen, and the 49ers want to add to that lead. How about Jake Tonjes? Picked off, though, by Quinyon Mitchell. Purdy in disbelief. That's Mitchell's second interception of the game. So under 3 to go in this one. 49ers third and goal. The Eagles 4. Purdy searching for the target. Finds McCaffrey in the end zone for the touchdown, and they love it. The 49ers go up 23-19. So this is now the last chance for the Eagles. Just over 2 minutes left in the fourth. And here's Jalen Hurts dropping back. He hits Dallas Goedert for 15 yards.
This is a huge play. Right after a drop by A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert comes up big. He's played huge for this team the entire season.
Under a minute left in the game. Hurts passes to Devontae Smith across the middle. The ball hits off his hands, though. Incomplete. Eagles with one more chance.
That ball's got to be on Devontae Smith's face mask to get caught.
Okay, so 43 seconds left. 4th and 11. It all comes down to this. Hurts looking for Goddard across the middle. Knocked away by Eric Kendricks. The 49ers go on to win this one. The Eagles, the Super Bowl defending champs, will not advance. The 49ers go to the divisional round with the win. What a performance by those 49ers. But let's talk a little bit about the Eagles. Jalen Hurts came out firing yesterday, going 11 for 14 for 93 yards on the Eagles' first 3 possessions of the game, leading the team to 13 points. But the Eagles scored just 6 points for the rest of the game as Hurts went 9 for 21 for 75 yards, less than 4 yards per attempt. And on 21 pass attempts, the Eagles got just 3 first downs in those final 7 drives. Here's Saquon Barkley after the loss.
It's easy to be like, we expect to get to the playoff and it's going to change. And it just did it, you know. You tell me a time, we played, 18 games this year? You tell me a time on offense we put together 2 halves. But we just didn't. We just didn't do it. And it caught up to us. It caught up to us in the playoffs. And in the playoffs in the NFL, it's not the NBA. You don't get 7 games, best of 7. It's whoever's the best that day.
That's what makes the playoffs so great in the NFL. RC, what do you make of the honesty there by Saquon?
Well, honestly, Saquon Barkley should be sitting in this seat because that's exactly what happened. We've been giving them the benefit of the doubt the entire season that when it was needed, this team would be able to turn it on because we know the All-Pros, we know the Super Bowl MVPs, we know the Pro Bowl caliber players, but that just didn't happen. And early on in this game, they took a shot to Goddard down the field, too, to A.J. Brown. And then they played not to lose the rest of the game. There was no creativity. There wasn't anything in Kevin Patullo's game or his bag that said, okay, we are going to do something that you haven't seen the entire season. And as a team, they were just out-coached. Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh put on an absolute clinic of using the pieces you have to make the plays you need to, and the Philadelphia Eagles just didn't.
This offense has been predictable since September. We've talked about it. Anybody that covers the NFL has talked about it. The predictability got them beat. And it might change some people's jobs. And if I could pick one drive out of 18 games that Saquon's talking about, the ending drive of yesterday's game is the example of kind of who this team is offensively. They start with running 4 verticals. They dump it off to Saquon Barkley. They come back and basically run double slants. They dump it off to Saquon Barkley. They come back and run a mesh concept, and it's a drop. They run the same concept in reverse. They throw it to Dallas Goedert. They get a conversion. They try to run the same concept to Devontae Smith. The backside safety collapses, and then they go back to 4 verticals. And so the lack of adjustment, the lack of willingness to change, the lack of trying to figure out different ways to run stable concepts is something that we have emphasized on the show, and it just never evolved, and it caught up to him against the well-coached team.
Why not give A.J. Brown on that last 4 verts an opportunity outside against Diamador Lenore?
100%. Move him, get him stacked, get him bunched, maybe a one-on-one ball, maybe a comeback, at least something rather than – I mean, you could see both of them, A.J. and Devontae. They're just running like this, I don't know. They're not expecting the football because it's not part of it.
That was egregious. Right? We paying that dude $100+ million. We got to try to go win a one-on-one. That, to me, told me A.J. Brown wouldn't be in Philly more than anything that happened in the game. One-on-one game on the line and you don't go to him, that's what he's there for.
Right.
All right, but let me go to the other point because, Dan, you're going to remember this. A month and a half, 2 months ago, I asked you, how hard is it for an offensive coordinator to find some wrinkles to their offense? The last drive of this football game with 3 timeouts in your back pocket, you just went through the sequence. That's what you come up with?
4 of the same place.
We don't have – I was pissed off about not running the football in one of them situations when you know San Francisco is in prevent, no rush coming. What about a screen to Saquon? Your best player with the ball in his hands is in the backfield. With space. To your point, you throw 2 out routes to him. And I'm not going to teeter around it. Kevin Patullo ass need to be gone. This was a horrible year of calling offensive plays. And I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles offense is as bad as we watched it based on the talent. That's what kept us on the string all year long.
It does need to be said, a lot of the Eagles players did not make plays in big moments. We saw some of them there. However, too much of this offense is saying, hey, go make a play. And that's the problem, because if you're depending on them to be perfect throughout the game, they're just not going to be. I think what was, because we've been talking about this all year long, we're a broken record, but I think what was so egregious in this particular game was the opponent. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers defense, so outmatched, particularly at the linebacker position. When did it feel like over the course of the game they were attacking the linebackers? And there's numerous things you can point to. Dan, you talked about, the staticness of the routes outside. It's all hitches and flats. We know this. But also, with the run game, I'll throw out one thing that just perplexed me. How does Jalen Hurts only have 2 design carries in a win and go home? I understand maybe he doesn't want to run more over the course of the season. Fine. But that was such an obvious vulnerability for him to run between the tackles and create some optionality and put those linebackers in conflict.
It's total malpractice, all-encompassing. It's malpractice.
100%. But I was trying to put it into a term, like, how do I describe? Because I think we're all saying, Ron Jaworski said it best. He called it the prevent offense. Didn't that feel like what we were watching yesterday? The prevent offense. There was never a chance to let it loose. And as you're watching, to Mina's point, RC's point, the end around to Sky Moore, then to Juwan Johnson, who throws a lefty deep pass. You're going back to Philly, and it's 2nd and 10, handoff to Tank Bigsby. 2nd and 10, handoff to Saquon Barkley.
The second and long ones.
The second and long handoffs were egregious, and that was all year long. And to your point, that's been all year. They scored 6 points in the second half. That's what they did all year. They had no ingenuity. And now they're at home watching, and at no point during the season did you ever feel like, well, they're going to turn it on. That's going to happen. Now, maybe an Eagles fan deep in their heart thought maybe. It just never happened. Of course, there will be changes. There has to be.
Well, it's hard to look at that roster and say they're not going to turn it on at some point, right?
Well,
offensively, you have so many.
The 3 guys up here play in the league. Throughout the season, especially when your bye week come, you evaluate yourself. And you say, what do we need to do better as a football team? And my expectation in Philly was coming off of a Super Bowl, hey guys, we are bad at this. We need to reevaluate how we call plays, the things that we do. That's the hope that I held out. For a team to play the same way for 18 weeks, whether you good or bad, is crazy in the NFL season.
One more thing, and on that drive, Dan, you detailed it beautifully. There was also a 3rd and 11 where they have 3 timeouts in their pocket, and they come to the line of scrimmage, and they can't get the playoff in time. This is a team that went to the Super Bowl and won and beat Patrick Mahomes. They had to burn a timeout so that they couldn't even get the ball back, and there wasn't even a chance to.
They should have never called that timeout.
That is on Nick Sirianni, because we've been talking about Kevin Patullo. Nick Sirianni is responsible for that. He also hired, handpicked Kevin.
Yeah, there's so many perplexing moments. We will get into the 49ers side of this, by the way, in our next hour. We're with you for 2 hours. We will give them a ton of credit for what they've been able to do. But let's bring Adam Schefter in here. You heard Peter mentioning potential changes for this Philly staff. Adam, what do we know about what could happen on that side?
Laura, anytime a team loses a game the way the Eagles did yesterday and goes through a season the way that Philadelphia did this past season, there are going to be changes to the coaching staff. Everybody believes Nick Sirianni's safe, not a question there. So the change then, obviously, and the scrutiny goes to the offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo. A lot of people around the league believe, obviously, his job's on the line here. The Eagles have made changes at that spot before when they've struggled, and it wouldn't be a surprise if they did it again. Meanwhile, the